never, ever, never, ever wanted to have children. Never. In fact, when I graduated from high school, I thought I was just going to go back to the Bahamas where I met my summer crush and chill on the beach with him for the rest of my life. But I never, ever, ever, never wanted children. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was because they were so confident with eating their boogers, or maybe they're so needy, or perhaps they were so fragile. Whatever it was, I never, ever, never, ever wanted children. So 2 kids and a husband later, I realized I had to change that narrative. I was 22 with 2 kids and a new crush. But I never, ever want to have another one. And so a few years later, I was about to turn 26. I thought, I need to go to the doctor and let him know I never, ever want to do this again because I ain't doing real good with the first 2, and I don't know what's going to happen if I have a third one, so please fix this problem for me. Well, my doctor was from Africa, and they believe in having lots of kids. And so my doctor said, go back home and think about it, and then once you think about it, come back, and, we can talk about it. And I was like, nah, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I want you to go ahead and handle this. And he sent me home and told me to come back in 2 months. I said, fine, I'm going to do that. Came back 2 months later, and he was like, welcome back. I'm like, yeah, let's get this done. And he's like, well, we can postpone this conversation about not having children because you're 2 months pregnant. It was a setup, I think. So here we go again. I'm about to have this third child. 6 months later, pregnancy was going well. I'm excited about this gender reveal. I'm excited about having this conversation with my doctor again about never ever wanting to have another one. And it's a girl. I kept saying, if I'm going to have a third kid, it better be a girl because I don't want to do this again. And it was a girl. Yes, let's fix the problem. And so about 2 days after I had my daughter, they told me that my daughter would have to stay in the hospital because she was jaundiced. And I was like, wow, like that didn't happen with my boys. What's going on? And I let them, keep her and take care of her. And then she came home. 4 weeks after she came home, I got the surgery. Yes. So no more kids. I got my 3. My girl, I'm good. And the journey begins with an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a newborn. And so my daughter would cry a lot. I thought maybe that was a girl thing. She wouldn't sleep at night. I'm like, that must be a girl thing. And so I just kind of monitor her, and about a week or 2 after monitoring her, I realized that the sleeping wasn't stopping. She wasn't getting any sleep, and then her breathing was kind of funny. And now I'm nervous, so I take her back to her pediatrician, and I say to the pediatrician, hey, something's wrong. I don't know what's going on. And the pediatrician tells me she has colic. Don't worry about it. Take her back home. And I'm like, all right, cool. I trust my pediatrician. I went to put my child in the car, and as I was about to strap her in, I felt these hands on my shoulder yank me back and whisper, take her back in. And so when I lifted my head out of the car, I looked around, there was no one there. I'm thinking, well, maybe somebody grabbed me and ran. And then I was thinking, well, maybe that's just in my head. Maybe I'm just stressed out. And then I'm thinking, maybe it was something bigger than that. Whatever it was, I was scared. So I grabbed my daughter, I took her back into the pediatrician, and I told the receptionist, don't ask me why I'm back here, because if I tell you, you're gonna think I'm crazy. Just get the pediatrician out here so they can look at my daughter again. The pediatrician came out reluctantly, looked at my daughter, and immediately summons the ambulance. So the ambulance took us to the hospital, and along the ride, it was the longest ride ever. It was the longest ride ever. And in the ride, I was just negotiating with God. I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna do whatever you ask me to do if you can just get my child through this. We get to the hospital, and the pediatric surgeon came out and said that my daughter needed to have open heart surgery that night. Part of that open heart surgery required them to crack her ribs and that she would have to be in an induced coma. I'm freaking out. I'm in panic mode. I'm negotiating. I'm promising. I'm gonna go to church. I'm gonna do all kinds of. I'm gonna be nicer to my husband. I'm gonna do all kinds of things. And so now I'm anxious. I don't want to leave the hospital. In fact, I'm too anxious to even drive again. Something about the car is reminding me of this trauma, and I don't want to get in the car anymore. I stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks with my daughter. And every day as I went to visit my daughter, I was walking past babies, babies that were arriving, babies that were leaving, babies who was losing the fight to live. And I didn't know what day it would be that would be my story. And I was scared, and I was panicking, and I was negotiating with God and negotiating with God. My mother was a very faithful woman, and she said, stop negotiating with God and let him take the wheel. You step back. So I did. 2 weeks ago, my daughter turned 24. She never, ever, 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 ever want to have kids. She graduated summa cum laude. I was told, your children get the brains of their mother, thanks to me. She has been an entrepreneur since she's 15 years old. She's witty, she's fun, she's brilliant. She's one of the best people that I know. I gave birth to my best friend. I want to thank my Canadian doctor for delaying my decision. I want to thank the top pediatric surgeon. I want to thank my mom for telling me to step back and let God take the wheel. Today, my daughter called me in tears because her and her boyfriend broke up. Ooh, I want to get in my car and go to Chicago and put him in a headlock. I watch a lot of First 48. For the rest of my life, I'm going to be protecting my daughter's heart. Thank you.
Come on, give it up for Danielle, everybody. Wow.